The 2026 NFL draft order is set, and there's a name coming out of Eugene, Oregon that's creating conversations in every war room in the league, including right here in Chicago. Welcome to Bears News Fan Report, your trusted source for breaking updates, insider perspectives, and everything you need to know. Our beloved I've been tracking something that could fundamentally alter how we approach the entire offseason, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the next few months represent one of the most critical periods in recent franchise history. Let me paint you a picture of where we are right now as an organization. Ben Johnson is our new head coach, bringing an offensive mind that transformed the Detroit Lions into one of the most explosive attacks in football. That's exactly the kind of innovation we needed. But here's the reality that keeps me up at night and should be on every Bears fan. Offensive coordinators turned head coaches live and die by their quarterback play. Johnson's system requires precision, intelligence, arm talent, and the ability to process information quickly. We need to ensure we have the right signal caller to execute his vision. College football playoff semifinals are happening this week, and there's a matchup that has NFL decision makers absolutely glued to their screen. Indiana's Fernando Mendoza facing off against Oregon's quarterback in a game that will showcase two of the most talented prospects in this entire draft class. The Raiders hold the #1 overall pick, and conventional wisdom says they're taking Mendoza. But the quarterback going up against him, the one leading Oregon's offense with poise and exceptional arm talent, is creating just as much intrigue in scouting circles. Draft analysts have been working overtime evaluating this quarterback class. We're seeing mock drafts flood the internet. Now that the regular season is complete, the consensus seems clear at the top. Mendoza goes first to Las Vegas, and the Jets at #2 will have their choice of the remaining elite quarterback prospect. But here's where it gets fascinating for us Bears fans. When you're picking at number 25, you're not in position to select a franchise quarterback in a normal draft scenario. Yet this isn't a normal situation, and that Oregon quarterback represents something special. I've watched every snap of Dante Moore's film from this season. The arm strength is legitimate NFL caliber. The decision-making has improved dramatically from his earlier college days. The poise under pressure shows a maturity that translates to the professional level. Moore has been dissecting defenses in the Pac-12 and now on the biggest stage in college football. When you watch him operate Oregon's offense, you see a quarterback who understands timing, anticipation, and how to manipulate coverage with his eyes. Those are traits you cannot teach. Those are the foundational elements separate good college quarterback from potential NFL starter. The mock drafts currently have Moore going #2 overall to the New York Jets. That makes perfect sense for a franchise desperate for quarterback stability. But draft boards are fluid. Evaluations change. Teams fall in love with different process. The combine, pro days, private workouts, medical evaluations, and interviews all factor into how these selections ultimately shake out. And here's what I'm watching closely. If Moore's draft stock fluctuates at all, if there's any scenario where he's available past the top 5 picks, the Chicago Bears need to have a plan. Our current draft position, 25. That's not where you typically find franchise quarterback, but Ryan Poles has shown he's willing to be aggressive when he identifies a player who can change the trajectory of this organization. We've seen general managers move up dramatically in drafts when they're convinced they've found their guy. The cost is significant, usually involving multiple first-round picks and additional assets. But when you hire an offensive-minded head coach like Ben Johnson, when you're building an offense designed to compete with the best in the NFC, having the right quarterback isn't just important, it's everything. Let me walk you through what a potential move up the board would require. The Jets at 2 aren't moving. If they don't take Moore, someone else in the top 5 absolutely will. The Cardinals at 3, the Titans at 4, the Giants at 5, all of these teams have various needs, differing philosophies. The further Moore slides, the more realistic it becomes for a team like Chicago to consider making a massive move. We'd likely need to package our first-round pick this year, next year's first, and probably additional mid-round selection. That's a hefty price. But compare that investment to what it costs to be mediocre at the quarterback position for years. The alternative scenario, and this is where it gets really interesting, involves Moore somehow falling into the back half of the first round. It's rare, but we've seen quarterbacks slip before when teams convince themselves they can address the position later, or when evaluation consensus breaks down. If medical concerns emerge, if interviews don't go as well as expected, if teams fall in love with other prospects, there is an outside chance Moore could be available 25. That would be an absolute gift for the Bears. The kind of draft day scenario transforms. Now let's talk about fit. Ben Johnson's offensive system in Detroit featured quick game concepts, layered route combination, and an aggressive downfield passing attack. Opportunities presented themselves. That system needs a quarterback who can make quick decisions, fit balls in tight windows, and take calculated shot vertical. Moore's skill set aligns beautifully with those required. His arm strength allows him to make every throw Johnson's playbook demands. His processing speed has improved to the point where he's consistent making the right read. His mobility, while not elite, is functional enough to extend plays and create pockets down. The current mock drafts have the Bears select Caden McDonald, offensive tackle from Ohio State, 25. That's a solid pick that addresses a legitimate need. Our defensive line struggled in critical moments this season, and adding impact players there makes sense. But I'm asking you to think bigger picture with me. Which pick has more potential to change our franchise trajectory? A good defensive tackle or a potential franchise quarterback? Ben Johnson's offense doesn't reach its ceiling without the right quarterback executing it. Every other position on the roster becomes more valuable when you have elite quarterback play. The timing of this draft class is particularly interesting. We're not in complete rebuild mode. We have pieces on offense. We have a new coaching that brings innovation and credibility. We're positioned to compete in the NFC North if we make the right move. Adding a quarterback prospect, Dante Moore, gives us both immediate starting job and long-term security at the most important position. That's invaluable for a franchise trying to establish sustainable. I want to be realistic about challenges. Moving up from 25 to the top 5 would cost significant capital. That's draft picks we could use to add multiple impact at various positions. There's legitimate risk in going all in on any single prospect, even one as talented as Moore. Draft evaluation is an imperfect. Quarterbacks who look great in college don't always translate to NFL. But the flip side is equal. Passing on a potential franchise quarterback because you're afraid of the cost, teams stay mediocre. The college football playoff semifinal give us another data point on Moore. How does he perform against elite competition on the biggest stage? How does he handle pressure when everything is on the line? Does he elevate his game or struggle under the spotlight? These questions matter tremendously as teams finalize their draft boards. A dominant performance could cement his position as a top 5 lock. A struggle could create the kind of doubt that makes teams hesitate, potentially creating opportunity for the Bears. Ryan Poles has earned some trust from me with his moves over the past few years. He's been methodical, strategic, and willing to make bold decision calls. This situation calls bold. Whether that means packaging picks to move up the board, staying patient and hoping more slide, or identifying an entirely different path to solving the quarterback issue, I'm confident Poles and his staff are evaluating every possible scenario. What I want to see is a clear plan, courage to execute arrive. Here's my analysis of where we stand right now. Dante Moore represents exactly the type of quarterback prospect Ben Johnson needs to maximize his offensive system. The probability of landing him at 25 is low, but not. The cost of moving up to cure him would be substantial, potentially worth it if the evaluation is strong. The Bears find themselves in a familiar position, needing to solve the most important position in football while navigating the complexities of the draft process. How aggressively we pursue this opportunity will tell us a lot about the organization's confidence in the current quarterback room and their willingness to invest in a long-term solution. I need to hear from Bears Nation on this one. Should Ryan Poles consider moving up in the draft to cure Dante Moore? Would you be comfortable giving up multiple first-round picks for a quarterback you believe can be the franchise cornerstone? Or do you think we should stay at 25, address defensive needs, and solve the quarterback position through other means? This is a legitimate debate with strong arguments on both sides, and I genuinely want to drop your thoughts in the comments because this community's perspective matters. Make sure you're subscribed to Bears News Fan Report for all the latest draft coverage, free agency updates, and everything happening Chicago Bears. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a breakdown as we track Moore's performance in the playoffs, monitor draft stock changes, and analyze every move our organization makes this. If you found this analysis valuable, give it a thumbs up and share it with fellow Bears fans who need to be thinking about possibilities. We're building something special here, Ben Johnson, and getting the quarterback position right is absolutely crucial to that vision. I'll see you in the next video with more breaking news and in-depth analysis. Bear down!